Thank you for being here for our first Principals Coffee of the year. We have a pretty thick agenda today. The first person that I wanted to introduce is our new assistant principal. I feel like I've been introducing her for 4 months, and I have. So here she is, Laura Dubak.
Just wanted to take a couple minutes to introduce myself, give you a little background, and tell you a little bit about what I'm doing here. So I started out my education career as a high school English teacher. I was working in Brooklyn then, and then I became an assistant principal at Sunset Park High School in Brooklyn. And I did that for 3 years before I became an assistant principal at Horace Greeley High School in Chappaqua, just down the road. And then I started at Byram Hills High School in July, and I'm very excited to be here. It's kind of a cool experience going into year 7 as an assistant principal, and this is my third different school that I've been in. So I'm hoping to learn a lot, contribute a lot, and just be able to get to know the community and the students really well here. A little bit about, so I've met a lot of you through my entry plan. You guys have been very kind about taking time out of your busy schedules to come and meet with me. But if you are interested in talking and I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you yet, I'm always available, so please send me an email or stop by, and I'd love to talk and learn a little bit about who you are, who your children are, and what your experiences have been like so far. And a little bit about what I do here. I oversee the clubs and activities. So all of your students, especially your 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, will come and talk with me if they're interested. If they're interested in starting a club, or if they're looking for a club or activity that interests them. So if you're talking with your kids and they're like, oh, I'm not really involved in anything, or I'm looking for something to do after school, please send them my way and we'll find something that works for them, because we want everybody to be involved in something that interests them. Not such a fun part, but I also oversee the AP exams in the region, so I'll be sending out all the schedules, the details. If you have any questions about times, locations, accommodations, anything related to testing, I'm your person. A fun part is I also work with the Acting with Integrity Committee. What the committee works on is trying to contribute to the school's mission by creating an environment where students feel supported and confident in making good decisions, so that things like cheating, sharing assignments, sending a text message about test questions, that kind of thing, never really cross their minds. We want to, this group is a group of students who are really passionate about that mission, where we want students to be engaged in really good decision making around their academics and really own work that's theirs. So we're trying to positively support that throughout the school. You'll probably see signs as you're walking out today and be like, oh, that's the Acting with Integrity Committee. And the last very important thing that I work on with Mr. Walsh and the other assistant principal, Ms. Sautner, is safety and security. It's a primary concern for us, so we're constantly checking doors, checking in with our students, making sure they're in class. So if you have any concerns at all about anything safety related, you can come to any of us.
So just to go over a little bit of, to get everybody on the same page, the new faces that we have in the building this year, and some of our leave replacements. So Christina Vicinanza is our math teacher, and she came in, started it right off the bat in September 5th. So she started the day after we opened school. Christina Pagliugi, she is our special ed, one of our special ed teachers. She actually took over for Flaubert, who retired from our flexible support program. So she's been in there, has great experience working in those settings, and has already gotten up to speed. Michelle Collins came in as a special ed teacher. She was an aide here with us for the previous 2 years, and she took over and is now a resource room teacher and also co-teaching. Kira Hunt and Erin Brown, you've met before. They were able to come and introduce themselves at the end of last year, but they are our 2 new guidance counselors who took over for the retired Ann Kaplan and Susan Buckman. Kira Hunt, as a reminder, is one of our 9th grade transition counselors. Erin Brown is one of our college counselors, and she had a baby on last Thursday. So she had her baby. So We're very excited for her. Brittany Tompkins is our new physics teacher, and she teaches AP Physics 1 and then Physics Regents. Joy Reynolds, who is a resource room teacher for 18 years, is now also our special ed coordinator for the building. Jill Boynton, who is Director of Special Services, is the only one of our chairs or directors who does not have an office in the building. So this allows the special ed department to have much better coordination. Leave replacements, we have Melissa Amoroso, who is leave for Nicole Del Balzo, and then Debbie Aday will be taking over for Courtney DeRosa, who is going on maternity leave, delayed maternity leave, in our life skills class. So those are the new faces here at Byram Hills. Okay, so new courses this year. We have a number of different offerings, and we're always trying to look at our master schedule and our course offerings to try to see where we can sort of be more authentic, where maybe the colleges are looking for, and to try to balance it out to give kids opportunities that really lead to them being productive and responsible citizens of the 21st century. So one of the ones that I'm most excited about is actually yearbook production. And this started as a class. Before, it was just a club. And while it was great and the kids did a lot of work, we saw an opportunity to be able to bring in aspects of graphic design, journalism, in a course that really brought in all of these different content areas. So Amy Menashe is teaching that course, and we're looking forward to a great yearbook, with the ultimate authentic assessment being the production of a yearbook, which it doesn't get much better than that. Global Scholars, we're in year 2, and we have a whole other group of 10th graders who started this year. So as we like to say, the pump is being primed. So those current juniors will be going out and they'll be doing service projects, and then as seniors, they'll start to go back in as leaders of the program. So we're 1 year away from almost having that cycle start to run. Robotics Master Course, this is one that Peter Lichten has been doing such a great job with the robotics program. We had kids that were really hungry and aching for more robotics, and we just didn't have courses. So we had to create a whole new course for these kids that can go in there and actually teach the robotics 1 and 2 sections. Metalsmithing and jewelry design, Jane Carlin has been trying to get this here for years, and finally she's got it up and underway. And with, again, the authentic assessments being the products that they create in there, those actually pieces of jewelry that that come out of that class. Just a terrific way to assess whether the kids are getting it or not. Computer Science Principles, TA. So last year we've always had TAs in chemistry. We've had TAs in our AP Computer Science. But last year we opened it up to our Computer Science Principles as well. So now we have that working with Lisa Pellegrino in the Principles class. Studio Music Production and Composition 1 and 2. This is actually, again, another offering in our Fine Arts Department that allows kids to really do the authentic work that they would be doing outside in the real world. Very excited for those classes. Wellness for Life, this is something that Kathleen Healy, our phys ed teacher and coach, has been very passionate about, and it really aligns with the work that we're doing with Challenge Success, with Yale, and with the University of Michigan. So this is a course that is designed around helping kids understand what true wellness is. So it's an elective, and it's going to be offered in the 2nd semester. Digital storytelling, obviously so many of the things that we're reading now are online and digital, and this is a way for us to get our kids prepared to produce those things when they leave here. Movie making and media, this is Michael Chuney's baby. He's got a huge green screen in his room, and it's really incredible to watch the level of movies that are being made in that course. Any questions about the new courses? Yeah, this is it's always a lot of fun when we are looking into new courses, because it's really collaborative between the chairs and directors, and then the guidance department, and then the students. So the course requests really drive what we can and can't offer, and so it is a really collaborative effort. So Last weekend, through the generosity of the BHEF, we were able to take a team out to the Stanford University for the Challenge Success Fall Conference. And we were able to go out there as part of this team to attend the Fall Conference, to have a coach who's going to be working with us throughout the year, to have a coach come in and a presenter, expert from Stanford University, to meet with the staff, faculty and staff of HCC and the high school on October 17th, as well as offering a parent presentation on that night, 6:30 at HCC in the auditorium, and then continually working through the year, and then bringing in Denise Pope, who is the founder of Challenge Success and the author of Overworked and Underprepared. So this was our team. The venue was terrific, Stanford University in September, just like picture perfect. Couldn't have been any nicer. So we brought a team of 2 students, 2 parents, 1 teacher, 1 guidance counselor, and 2 administrators. And the thing that I love about Challenge Success is that they really push the student voice in everything that is being done. So again, this year when we got there, we met with our coach. His name is Mike Peller, and he actually had experience opening a charter school using a lot of the Challenge Success framework as he opened that school. He is now the head of school at a private high school in New Hampshire, way up in the woods. So he worked with us really very closely, and it was really intense work. And I will say that being outside on the other side of the country really allowed me to really just focus on the work at hand, to really start to get deep into sort of what we're thinking about here at Byram Hills. There were 50 other schools that were there as well, 50 other schools from across the country, as well as 3 from our neighborhood. Ardsley, Rye, and Hastings-on-Hudson were there as well. So it was interesting to travel across the country to talk with these principals that I knew that I never get to see when I'm around here. Interesting, the keynote speaker on the first night of the conference was Mark Brackett, who we all know from his work here with us at the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence. So what I really liked about it and what really resonated with me was that Mark was talking about the framework that Challenge Success uses. They have a framework called SPACE, and each letter represents something different. But the C is a culture of care. And Mark talked about how his work with emotional intelligence really fits in really well with the framework for that Stanford University Challenge Success background. So he spoke about how it is in a school when people are never asked about their emotions. People are never able to really pinpoint where they are. And what resonated with me with his discussion was making sure that we understand the difference between behaviors and the actual emotions at work. Madeline Levine was the author of Teach Your Children Well, terrific book. One of the parents of a student who graduated last year gave it to me on the way out, and I happened to read it over the summer. And I said, wow, there's some really good points in here, and was very excited to see that she was speaking at the conference. As well as Denise Pope, who wrote the book Overloaded and Underprepared. She also created Challenge Success. So there's a number of different workshops, from saner scheduling to homework policies to engagement, mindfulness, saner parenting, assessments, project-based learning, and grading. All of the members of our cohort, our 8 members, we tried to spread out as much as possible to really make sure that we were hearing everything that they had to say. So I think I can. So framing the work, just to sort of give everybody a background about how they enter into this. There's 7 different categories that they feel make up the overall student experience. And the first being academic engagement. So as just a reminder, we surveyed all of our students last November 21st in all of these different categories. Then they came back with the results. What we found and what our kids reported back to us through the survey was that we have a high level of our students who are just quote unquote doing school. And what that means is that our kids are great kids for the most part. They know what to do to be able to be successful. They don't always do it with the intent on learning. Sometimes they're just doing the work, and this is not all the time. Sometimes they're just doing work in certain classes to just make sure that they get that grade so that they can put that on the transcript. And it's certainly very, it's understandable what they're hearing. Sometimes they're going to say, you know what, I'm just going to focus on this test, not really focus on that one. They're sort of going through the motions sometimes, not all of them, and not all the time. But we did come back with our results that we have kids at some point or another who are just here doing school. Workload, homework, this includes homework, tutors, projects, studying, ACT, SAT prep. So how much work are they doing outside of the school? So we had a bell curve where we had some kids that were doing 15 minutes. We had other kids that were doing 7 hours. So the median was about, on the weeknights, was about 4 hours. So it looked like kids doing 4 hours after school of work after school. And that includes homework that they get from us and homework that they're getting from tutors on the outside or college coaches, whatever it may be. Sleep. Looking at the American Medical Association recommendations, they say that kids high school age should be getting 8.5 to 9 hours of sleep a night to keep up with it. Our kids on average are getting 6 hours and 15 minutes a night. A lot of things that go into that. But on average, our kids are reporting back out. There are some kids that are getting 12 hours a night. There are some kids that are getting 3 hours a night. But on average, about 6 hours and 15 minutes. Freshman boys are sleeping the most. So if you had to come back as a freshman boy. Extracurricular activities. So how do students connect with the school outside of the classroom? What's the way that they feel connected? And then academic integrity. What does cheating really tell us? Really, it's a behavior, but what is it telling us about sort of the work that they're doing? What does it tell us about the way that they approach the work? What is it actually telling us? So we look at those 7 different areas. And this year, for our professional development for our teachers, in our first faculty meeting, they all basically looked at one of these areas and wanted to take ownership of it. So they are going to be taking a deep dive into these different categories throughout the year. Right now, I can tell you that based on the results that we got, more teachers want to work at workload and academic engagement than any other area. So those, for the teachers, really are something that is striking a chord with them, that workload and that academic engagement. All right, so one of the things we worked on with our coach was to try to sort of, there are so many great things that we have here at Byram Hills. You know, like competitive. We should be competitive, but maybe we can change that sort of, if we look back to the word chart last year, where that was the word that dominated our kids' experience. Well, maybe we can change it and just reframe it, right? We still want to embed those things, but we don't want those things to be the only thing that is driving our kids. So when we looked at that and we sort of looked at our survey results and we tried to get down to what is it really that's driving some of those negative things that are popping up in our results, we came up with 3 roots. And these are sort of the things that if we are going to change any of our kids' attitudes or perceptions or the culture of the school, we really have to work on implementing changes that get at those roots. So the first one being, and these are in no particular order, being one more important than the other, but the community expectations and pressures surrounding transcripts and the college acceptance process. So that's sort of one of the things that drives a lot of those 7 categories in ways that we don't have control over. Pressures of New York State, national standards, AP Regents exams, teacher ratings, and other curricula on the content coverage. So the teachers, they are there. They would love to be able to do a deep dive on this one unit and spend 4 weeks on it, but not AP exam tells you got to get through all this. New York State Regents exam is coming up. If those kids don't do well, you better make sure that you cover all these things. So that's sort of driving a lot of the things that lead to sort of that doing school. And then we have the constant self-evaluation related to social media, peer comparisons, and social pressures. So this is sort of like the things that we didn't really have to face as much. These kids are facing it, and it's much more amplified now just because of this thing and because it's all out there. There's 24-hour news cycle. There's, constant pressure to answer that blinking light and that beep on the phone. So those are the things, those roots. If we can do anything to address those, our kids' the overall student experience for our students will probably improve. Any questions on those? Now, as the principal here, it was like, I'm like in the corner, shying in the corner when we're going through this, because it's hard to hear. These are some difficult things to have to address in the school. And look, we do a lot of things well, but just like Dr. Lamia was saying, if we don't constantly evaluate ourselves, we're never going to improve. So we have to look at things that may be, may be uneasy for us to look at. All right, so looking ahead at the year ahead, we're very excited about where to go. So flying back, I got this rejuvenation. When I was there, I was sort of like, oh my God, where do we go? But on the way back, I really started to get pumped on it because of the collaborativeness that we could have in this experience. So we have John Kleiman, who is a child success expert from Stanford University. He's going to be coming in to speak with us on Superintendent's Conference Day. And that evening, October 17th, at HCC at 6:30 p.m., he's going to be giving a conference titled The Well-Balanced Student. And you're all invited, and we will be getting flyers out for that shortly. So February 4th, Denise Pope will be coming to speak with the community, and again, discussing our results and how they impact the community, and what sort of things she has seen from Byram Hills that she has seen in other districts that might be improved without really impacting those college acceptances. And we can have our cake and eat it too. It's something that sort of was a comment that came up time and time again in some of the other schools that were there. So our steering committee, we're made up of teachers, aides, parents, students, administrators. We're going to continually meet probably once to twice a month, and we're going to be coached by our friend Mike Peller on how to implement some of these things that we want to do. So some of the things that were suggested to us that we had already started were staggered quarters, shutting down the student-parent portal during the day, and then one of the things that we're very excited about is offering to our teachers the opportunity to shadow students throughout the day so that they can really, all right, you're getting off the bus, now you're going to first period, you're going to second period, hurry up, you only got 4 minutes between class, hurry up, you only got 26 minutes to eat, hurry up, you got to get to this practice, now hurry up, you got to go get your homework done, and then get back to school. So we're hoping that the shadowing can really be a way for us to sort of understand the overall student experience here. The teacher study, like I had mentioned, each of our teachers is taking a deep dive into one of those categories throughout the year, and they're going to try to come up with plans on having positive impact on any of those areas. Parent newsletters, I would love to have anybody that's interested in doing this work help us create newsletters for our parents that are going to go out monthly to twice monthly about the work that's being done with Challenge Success. I already have one volunteer. So, and then Bobcat TV, we want to really partner with them to make sure that the message is getting out there. And we have a couple of different things that we would like to do with our students, student-produced videos that really allow us to get their experience out there. I went into one workshop where they spoke about changing their master schedule. So number one, our kids start too early. And that's probably, if we look at the research that's been done, anytime we're starting before 8:15, we're probably not getting the best out of our students. We know that. So some of the schools took that and were able to work with that. They also changed their master schedule, so they allowed 10 minutes between passing time. They also extended their school day. So for every one of these changes, there are probably 100 things that we have to address. So like the important thing is that we have a process that we're going through to try to address whether changing our master schedule will be the best for our students. So yeah, it doesn't. Being told that you need to eat in 26 minutes, we know right away that that's an issue here. We had some schools that were taking 45 minutes. Some schools took an hour. Some schools, they had a brunch where they had a 15-minute brunch from 10 to 10:15. So those are all things that we're looking to address. But like I said, one of the things that I will not allow is sort of that impact negatively on what many would say is our bottom line, and that's Tier 1 and Tier 2 college acceptances. So even though I do believe that it's okay to not get in there, I know that the community will not support something where we see those things diminish. We're opening it outside of school hours on the weekends and then during breaks. And this is based on the feedback that we got from students, parents, teachers, our people from Challenge Success and University of Michigan. It's a tool. Basically, the parent-student portal is a tool, but what we found is that just like anything, it can be misused. So when we looked at it, and we have ways to sort of look at the use of it, we had some students that were actually going on there and looking at the portal as many as 500 times a day during the school day. So what we saw happening was that the students were becoming stressed out about when things were going to be posted. They in turn stressed out their parents. The parents in turn then started to look at the portal. The parents, if they saw it before the student, would text the student and say, "Don't be upset. It's going to be all right. It doesn't look like it didn't go the way you thought it was." So it was this constant cycle during the day where it really just, you could see it weighing on the kids in school. It was always hanging over them. When is that thing going to be posted? They were always checking. And so for us, that tool turned into something that really turned into basically a wall, where in class they weren't thinking about what the teacher was saying. They were thinking about, did the teacher in the other period post that grade yet? Let me go on and look. So it really turned into something that wasn't helpful for our kids. So, and then we're just hoping this facilitates better communication between students and teachers. So when those grades do come out, we want the student and teacher to have that conversation. We don't want the first conversation to be between the parent and the student. We want the student to own that that grade and that assessment. We still think it's a great tool, and we're always looking to see this. If this doesn't work, then we'll try to find something else. But we're always looking to sort of improve the way that we go about our business here. And then that'll lead me into this, Google Classroom, because a lot of the changes we made were based on the discussions that we had here last year. So again, right off the bat, assignments should not be posted after school hours, on the weekends, or during breaks. So those should not be put out there after school. Kids should know when they leave school every day what they have to get ready for those 4 hours or those 5 hours of work. So they're not going to be expected to complete any work that is posted on there after school hours, on the weekends or during breaks. So if something comes up at 7 o'clock at night from a teacher and there's an issue where it wasn't posted beforehand, well then, unfortunately, you need to call us, and then we need to address that. But your student would not be, not be responsible for that work. They're not going to be due, right? On the other side is that we have had teachers that want to give our kids more time. So something that was originally due on a Friday, some teachers were trying to be nice and say, you know what, we'll have that due on a Sunday. Well, all that did was, for us procrastinators in the room, that just allowed us to not do it until, Sunday. And then parents would be saying, how is this due on a Sunday? Where something that was originally done for, you know, for a good reason, turned into something that wound up being negative. So nothing is going to be due on the weekends, at night, or during breaks. Now, what happened last year, and it was great, I think one of the parents in the room brought it up, about the notifications. So notifications will continue to go out if they have Google Classroom on their phone. So if a teacher is correcting work on the Google Classroom and making comments or anything like that, those comments are still going to go out to the students. So our teachers are working with the kids to make sure that they know what is expected of them when those comments are posted. So a lot of kids and a lot of parents will hear that ding and they'll be like, oh my God, I have to do this now. And it's 9 o'clock at night. The teacher's up working late trying to get those comments in, and then the student thinks that I have to work on it right away. That's not the case. It's just the teacher putting that information out there. And teachers may post those clarifications on the classroom after school hours. So a lot of times this is like if kids are emailing the teacher and the teacher's getting a lot of emails and just says, you know what, let me just put this up for clarification. So those things are going to continue to go up there on the classroom as a helpful tool. And then, you know, I would love for you to notify us anytime you feel like this is not happening, because we can't fix it if we don't know what's going on. So we will try to be as anonymous as possible. We'll have to know the class, and from there we'll try to make sure that we have those conversations with the teachers to try to get it done. All right, the last thing I just wanted to mention is we are in the midst of our Homecoming Spirit Week, and today is Jersey Day. There's theme days throughout the week. Like I said, we're very excited for the first time ever, thanks to Dr. Lamia and our Board of Education. We are having lights on the turf. In the 52-year history of the school, they've never had night games here. And they kick off with Wednesday with our girls field hockey, Thursday girls soccer, Friday boys football, and then Saturday boys soccer. So throughout the week we have different activities. We're very excited. The members of the class of '68 will be coming in to speak with our mentor classes on Friday to sort of give them an idea of what it was like to be here in that first class. Our in-school pep rally, always a lot of fun, and that's the last period of the day on Friday. And then we announce the homecoming court at the pep rally, and then during the halftime of the football game. Well, that's all I have. I'll be here. Laura will be here, and Jen will be here if you have anything to ask us. Thank you.